This conference will now be recorded.
Okay, so this is the peer review, peer critique for Garland Benett, and I'm Nicole Anderson. And so I'm going to be the reviewer interviewing the designer. And we're going to start. Garland has presented his motion um, content
Context. hmm
context. So we're going to review it, see it, and then we're going to go ahead and ask questions. So can you play it for me, Garland?
Absolutely. With that in mind, I'll go ahead and get started. Just as a disclaimer, Dr. Baldowski, it is going to be 5 seconds long.
Mhm.
With that in mind, here we go.
Okay, cute. I like it.
What
All
I
right.
did is that I pretty much liquefied it, and I did while having a little big brick background as well as the capital of Curitiba, Brazil, in Brazil while that's going on. And the reason I put the middle text in there so in case people are driving by and they can't get the full liquidization, there's a second text in underneath just so they can read that one, which is a little liquefied as well. And I use blending for like light and for either I think it was overlay or soft light in order to blend it in with the background as well as with the bricks.
I'm just writing what you're saying.
Oh, that's enough. Any questions you have for me or any
Yes.
it's
Yep. Yep. I'm just finishing that up. Okay. So, um, what characteristics would you apply to the vision conveyed through the video? So, in other words, um, what would you say pers- defines what you're doing? Like, how would you label it?
what defines what I'm doing and how I would label it is
Hmm.
full scale engaging interactive experience, because if this were to be on a billboard and people were driving by regardless of wherever they're going, and the moment they see that, it would help peak, not only would this pique their interest, but the way how it from Curitiba, Brazil, with its interesting typography is like, flowing left and right, way back and forth in those 5 seconds. Not only would it help pique their interest, but it would also, in case anybody's looking for a vacation spot or a place to get away from the United States, boom, like within the matter of 5 seconds, they would be immediately interested and a little more engaged into the topic that I've chosen.
Okay. All right. Okay. And so let me ask you this question. When you were choosing the design, how to lay it out, what were you going through? What was it, the thought process?
The thought process that I was going through as I was excuse me, let me start over. The thought
Hmm.
process that I was going through as I was pretty much bringing this all together the way that it is presented right now, there were three things that were just going through. The first one is, how am I going to make it a little different than just slapping a bunch of text on there and there be like, here you go. No, I mean, because it's all about trying to be able to think outside of the
Hmm.
box and think of a different way, just to like add things that are similar but different at the same time. The second thing is the typography. I couldn't just normally use a normal plain looking one. I had to think of one that's like bold and big and is boom, like right in your face,
Hmm.
And then lastly, the background. As much as I wanted to just only add the background, I said to myself, you know what? What if it would be nice if I utilize like adding
Sorry about that.
bricks? You're fine. Like things like adding bricks, and then I just pretty much blur some of the bricks, so
Hmm.
that way when it's moving around the background, because when you see right here when it's moving, the bricks are pretty much unifying itself with it. And again, because when they look at the capital, they'll pretty much know what to expect if they ever decide to go to Curitiba, Brazil, which is not too far away from Rio de Janeiro.
Mm-hmm. Okay. All right. Cool.
If that answers
Oh,
your questions.
yeah, it does. Mm-hmm. So tell me a little bit about the voice and the tone. So I kind of heard what you were saying in reference to the design itself,
Right.
but what's the voice and tone in the overall design? So I know you're looking to say, boom, it's here. This is Curitiba.
I
You're a few miles away from Rio. Come visit us. You're using images, layered images, a masking
mhm.
going on. So, but you're I want to hear from you as the designer, what was the voice that you were trying to express to with the design or to the design?
The voice, I'll have to get back to you in a minute. The tone was what I was aiming for is
Hmm.
peaceful, paradisial, like paradise, wonder,
Hmm.
and as well as a sense of willing to learn. The voice, the best I can give is had I tried to add like some peaceful music to it would have helped build up the tone.
Okay. Now compare this to the dynamic vision board. Do they both work together or are they
They are
separate?
sitting They are both separate as they are working together. Well, pretty much the dynamic vision board pretty much is literally moving slide to slide the slide based on talking about its tone, the brand awareness, as well as the three things about Curitiba to Brazil, which is study, learn, and master. And
Hmm.
master. And while it's
Okay.
what makes it different though is that this one is moving. And I think what I could have done instead of doing Curitiba to Brazil, I could have easily added in and replaced it with learn, design,
Right.
travel, and master instead.
And I think that'd have been better. That would help highlight
If it answers your questions.
right, and it does. That would have actually highlighted the movement because you would have said your keywords. So we have, from what I'm looking at it, it says the city, it says the location where it is, and if I was viewing it, I would be interested in it. My curiosity would be piqued. But had you had study, what was it?
Learn,
Study, learn.
study, learn, and master. Or I could
So,
have replaced these learn, study with like travel. Because
right,
you would you have to travel there in order to look and to learn, let alone master your environment being there.
right. So those three words, even at the bottom, would have worked and would have like brought draw even more attention to it, and would have given it more of a, 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 a like a connection, and if you understand what I mean. So
Yes,
that's
ma'am.
one thing I could say, like if you change it, that would help. The other thing I would say, the critique that I would put out to you is um, the bricks. Even though the bricks look great, and I love the way you did it, because what this shows is your graphic design, your graphic and artistic handiwork. That's what this speaks to. It speaks very loudly to what you're able to do. You draw masterfully. So
Thank
this
you.
shows what you do well. What I would have seen, what I would probably would have liked to see better, as someone looking for it from on the outside, would have been, can I see the letters a little bit clearer? Because the
Let me
letters aren't as
let me write these
clear.
down.
Hmm. The lettering is not as clear as it should be. So I can see it, but I can't make it out clearly. So I see a C and I see the B, but I'm not quite sure what's between those two letters. So it could be an H, it could be a T, it could be anything, and I'm not understanding what that is. So that shadowing the bubble letters, the graffiti letters, those need to be a little bit clearer. The Curitiba Brazil lettering, it looks good, but what happens is because it's almost ghosted out, you can barely see it.
Mm-hmm.
So from close up, you can see it, but if I'm way back, I would never see the middle line whatsoever. That would be completely gone. So
Fair enough.
that needs to be strengthened. I like the lettering. The lettering is great. I love that. But you need to strengthen your typography to make it stand out. Um, the bricks, keeping it, that speaks to old school, graffiti style. That's like something that I grew up looking at constantly back in New York. So that's really good. Uh, but does it speak to your keywords? And that's the question. So does it
Right.
speak to learning? Does it speak to growing? Does it speak to mastering? As an element, it does speak to the city itself, but it does not connect. So there's somewhere a disconnect. I like the fact that you have the church, that church there that's really popular. You highlighted that
Yeah.
a little bit more, and you highlighted your lettering, and you highlighted your keywords. This would be really good. You could bring the capital, the church forward a bit, or you could just let the words themselves do the job and leave the capital just where it is. That would make this phenomenal because again,
That's a
it's
very fair point.
this whole thing, your whole design really speaks to who you are as a designer. It speaks to your graphic ability, but it takes away from your ability as an animator and as a media designer moving forward. So that's something you can keep in mind. And I think, again, just adding your keywords would help a great deal to bring this and make it pop. Just, if you had them float
Maybe
in and then float out, live comes in and then comes out, and then the next one comes in and then comes out, and then the last one comes in and then comes out, and then all three of them come out together, that would highlight a whole lot better than just get a Jiba waving. Um, I hope that helps.
it all helps. It's just that it's a lot to take in because what you said in that first part is true. As a designer, as an artist, I'm not selling those fields, but as an animator, I still have much to, you know, continue to learn
Mhm.
and
Mhm.
practice and get the hang of it. Because I'll be honest, this is the first time I've ever used After Effects.
Right, right. Yeah, so am
So,
I. So we're both learning how to use a program, from literally from scratch. So yeah,
mhm.
just learning how to do that. I mean, you did you did a really good job. I'm not taking anything away from the fact that even though this was your first attempt, um, you did an awesome job. I love the way your letters just move and the fact that you actually liquefied it. Like I don't even know how to do that yet so well. So
so
that's,
So just to recap everything you said in the critique, because again,
mhm,
paraphrasing is still, it's always important, especially in videos like
right.
these. You want the text to be a little clearer. You want to
Yes.
change the Curitiba Brazil to travel, learn, and master, and
Yes.
highlight things a little bit more. Is there anything else I?
Nope, that was it. That was it.
All right,
That was it.
all
Let
right
me
then.
see. What else can I ask? What else can I ask? Are there any elements of the video that feel out? Okay, I answered that. What voice? I asked you that and you answered
Mm-hmm.
that. Is there any text or imagery and I answered that. I went through that with you.
Mm-hmm.
Characteristics would you apply to the vision? We went through that. Um, what emotions does the video bring to mind as a whole? And I think I answered that as well. Um,
But just to answer it again, just in case we might have missed it, the
mhm,
emotion behind this video is written relaxation and a sense
mhm.
of as well as a sense of, when you're there, you're not just relaxing, you're learning about Curitiba, Brazil. You're seeing the environment, you're taking it all in. You're hearing the sounds of the ocean waves that's close by, that goes by. You feel the breezing sun blazing down on you in a very calming, relaxing manner. And then when you come back to it's like pretty much the hero's journey. You're pretty much trying to be the master of two worlds, coming back home to bring back a boon that you didn't experience before, that you want to
Okay.
share with your fellow coworkers.
That sounds good. Nice, nice. Okay.
Mhm.
All right. That some of those things, when you look at the way the lettering moves, actually
Yes.
you get that feeling. You do get the feeling, especially the
Hmm.
way it sways. You get the feeling of cool breeze, as you described it. You get the
And
feeling
that's why I
of
chose to look. That's the reason I chose a cool, lookifying Curitiba Brazil, is because it gives
mhm.
you that cool breeze.
Yeah,
Because anybody likes a breeze, especially during the summer when it's like
right.
nefariously hot.
You're right. You're on the beach. Yeah, and that's the
Mm-hmm.
feeling that you do get. Okay, so basically, we have actually gone through the critique. I gave you what, I made sure I gave you some points, and I hope that, those points would help. Um,
Absolutely.
and that's really it. I don't have any other further questions. I don't have any further critiques to give you. And you answered basically everything that I needed you to answer without reiterating and going around in a circle again. So we're really done. So if you have anything that you want to state or any questions you want to ask or mention,
I
now's your
just,
time.
I just, I just want to say thank you for giving the critique on what the pros and cons, because to me this is more than just all right, we got it done. No, this is like someday I'm gonna end up being an animator and a motion graphics designer, and
Hmm.
that's something I've never tackled before. So the fact that pretty much of getting this now, especially when I do end up becoming a creative director later down the line, and I'm having to lead a team of other graphic designers and motion design and graphic designers as well as
Hmm.
photographers. I need to make sure that I'm the jack of all trades and that I
Right.
know every single one of it. So that way they're like, if they don't understand it, they come straight to me.
Right. Exactly. Exactly. Good point. Really good point. All right, Garland. Thank you for your time. I appreciate
Thank
it. I'm
you.
going to end the
You.
I'm going to end the recording. So again, this is Nicole Anderson and Garland Bennett doing our peer critique review for our class, organizational. I forget the name of it. Ooh, just like went out my head. All right. I'm going to end the recording.
This conference will now be recorded.
So this is part two. Garland Bennett and Nicole Anderson for organizational structures. Peer critique, we're going to do part two, where Garland, as the designer, will ask me and interview me some questions in reference to his design. Garland?
Thank you for asking.
Mhm. So, what questions would you like to ask me?
Are you are you gonna show me your dynamic and
Oh,
vision
no,
board or your
this will be in reference to your work.
okay. So in reference to my work, what what is it about the motion that you saw that stood out to you the most?
Um, what I saw that stood out mostly was the way the letters moved. That's what stood out most. Even though, like I had said earlier, even though if from a distance you wouldn't be able to see it, but up close you could see it, and it does give you that feeling of cool breeze. It does give you that swaying motion. And so, once again, if those were connected to your keywords, that would have highlighted the emotion even more. And so the impression that I get um, at first without your explanation is really movement. That was the first thing that I got, was movement. With your explanation, I got cool breeze and, you know, island and tropical and vacation and just relaxation. So yeah, there you go.
Garrison. And you've mentioned to me before that some of the things need to be highlighted. Could you go elaborate a little more on which parts should be highlighted more in order to look more interactive and engaging?
Okay, so the Brazil part, um, the movement letters, the ones in the middle, that needed to be a little bit stronger. That needs to come out a little bit stronger. If you do the graphic letters and keep them the way they are, as they are, with that opacity really light, that's fine. But if you make your middle, the name of the city, with your lettering, with your typography, make that stronger so it stands out against the background, that would help. And with that, with your
Okay.
keywords, that would strengthen the look of your work.
Hmm. So it's a very fair point.
Mhm.
I mean, other than that, that's all I really got. Because
Okay.
everything else you explained in the spring previously in the last video.
Okay. All right. All right. So we are good. We've done both sections. Thank you. And I'm
You're
going to
welcome.
stop this and